Welcome back to Prediabetes and the Path to Better A1C. I am your host, Jenny Pena. I am a national board certified health and wellness coach, a diabetes prevention program lifestyle coach, and someone who understands just how overwhelming it can be to navigate prediabetes or type 2 diabetes with all the nutrition advice that is out there. Today, I want to talk about dieting. And this is more of a prequel on a 4-part series that is coming in August to debunk a lot of misconceptions, myths, wrong advice, things that are not science based around blood sugar and different health pillars. So, if you are not subscribed, I will say do. You will not want to miss that series. Now, if you have ever Googled how to lower blood sugar, you have probably seen recommendations like you should go keto. You need to cut all carbs. You need to fast. Do this famous 16-8. Or you're supposed to skip breakfast. That's going to save you some calories. Or, oh, please, never ever eat fruit. Or even worse, only eat foods when they have low glycemic index. And honestly, that's enough to make anyone throw their hands up in the air and wonder, what am I actually supposed to eat? What is allowed? And here's the truth that we are surrounded about opinions, social media influencers, books, friends, family members, loved ones, ChatGPT, Claude, AI. I mean, everybody and all of these also source of data, they all have a right answer. But before we spend the next month separating myths from facts, I think we need to start somewhere even more important. We need to talk about dieting, what it is, what is the culture around it, and my point around how it may harm you more than do you good. Not because diets are new, but because so many of us have spent years believing that if we just had a little more discipline, if we just eat less, if we eliminate this food group or this item, we'll finally fix our blood sugar, or we'll finally lose weight, or we'll finally fill the blank. And today I want to challenge that belief. And no, I'm not trying to convince you to give up on your health, because I commend those that are trying different things, because that means you're being proactive. You want to create change in your life, and that is admirable. But I really want to help you stop fighting your body and start understanding it. Because when I was diagnosed with prediabetes years ago, I thought I knew exactly what I needed to do. I started eating less because obviously I needed to lose weight. I started to cut carbs. I avoided every single thing that appeared to be a treat or tasted good because I needed to be good. And if I messed up, oh well, it's all downhill. I will start again Monday. That was my cycle. Does this even sound familiar? Would you relate? Because I cannot tell you how many Mondays I started over, but there were plenty. And I truly believe that if I just had enough willpower, everything would fall into place. What I didn't realize was that I wasn't failing because I lacked desire to get better or discipline or motivation. I was just following advice that simply was not the advice for me. It was not personable. It was not sustainable, not for me. And honestly, I see the same thing with so many people that I get to work. They can tell me that they followed different diets, different modalities, different food groups, different styles, different elimination diets, juicing. I mean, you name it, they tried it. And these are not ignorant people. I work with a lot of busy professionals corporate workers, entrepreneurs. They're intelligent, they're motivated, they're trying. They want to invest in their health, but they're exhausted because they're constantly chasing the next plan instead of learning how their own body works. And our bodies work slightly different. We are different. Now, you may be saying, okay, Jenny, what is diet mentality? And what are you talking about diet? And why are you doing this episode? Today, I want to introduce this phrase just because next week I have a special guest, Katie Harvey. She's a registered dietitian and she works covering a lot with the relationship with food. And she called herself the non-diet dietitian. And we had a beautiful conversation about diet mentality and how diet mentality is not just following a diet. It is almost believing that your worth as an individual, as a person, depends on what you eat. That eating one cookie means you ruined the day, or that carbs are bad, or that, even worse, that you have to earn your food, that everything has to be perfect. It's that voice that says, I've already messed up, so I might as well keep eating. Have you heard that voice before? Or that voice that says, I'll start over on Monday. So if you've ever had those thoughts, you're definitely not alone. Now, you may be asking, what does this have to do with blood sugar? Well, quite a bit. Because when your approach to food is built on restriction, instead of seeing it as enjoyment and nourishment, it creates the cycle. We restrict, we get hungry, we crave the very foods we've been trying so hard to avoid. Then we eat them, then we crave the foods even more. We feel guilty. Then we promise we're going to be even stricter tomorrow. And the cycle continues. And there is a physiological aspect to it. So the problem is not that you're weak. It's not that the cycle isn't designed to last. Because our bodies are incredibly smart. Our bodies are designed to protect us. So when you're constantly feeling deprived, you know what your body is thinking about? It's actually sending stronger hunger signals. Food is going to occupy our thoughts even more. Eating becomes stressful instead of enjoyable. And guess what happens over time? It makes it harder to create consistent habits that truly support our health and wellness. And one of the biggest lessons that I have learned over the years because of my own health and the many clients that I have had the honor to coach. Healthy eating shouldn't feel like punishment. You shouldn't feel that in order for food to be nourishing, it should be bland or unappealing, or that it should be a sacrifice. I'm going to eat this vegetable. I hate it, but I'm going to eat it because it's supposed to be good for me. And that's not true. Food should feel like self-care. And this doesn't mean that, okay, Jenny, I'm just going to eat whatever I want, whenever I want, right? That's another extreme. And you know that I'm not about extremes in one side or the other, but it means that learning how to build those meals that satisfy you, that you enjoy, but that also support your blood sugar and fit your lifestyle, and also leaves room for birthday cake or vacations or holidays or date nights. That is what balance means. That is what sustainable looks like. Because if a way of eating only works in a perfect world, it is not going to work for the real one. And we all know life is not perfect. As a busy entrepreneur and mom, and I mean, there's stressful days, there's soccer games, there is travel, there is weather changes, there is internet outages, there's cancellations, There's family celebrations. There are health issues that come up. There are busy weeks when dinner comes actually from takeout or the grocery store with pre-made things that you can doctor up and make it look like you did it from scratch. But real health has to fit into real life, your life, a life that does not have a very clear and specific structure that follows it to the T every single day. And you need to be prepared for that. So I urge you to be mindful this week and think about the times that you have said, I should not, I'm not supposed to, or when you're starting to label things as good or bad, because then you're going to uncover a pattern that has been ingrained and maybe you have not even acknowledged it or seen that it's so ingrained in your mind. And that's why I'm excited. I'm excited about next week's episode. I'm excited about this conversation. I'm excited about the 4-part series where we are going to debunk a lot of these things. And we are going to dive next week much deeper into diet mentality and why so many people are trapped in the cycle of dieting. They want a very extreme, miserable measure that is going to bring them results. That's their belief that that's the only way that they can get results. And another thing that I want to share with you is that feeling guilty, it's not going to motivate you to continue your journey and change. It's going to make you resent the whole journey. And the solution is to build a healthier relationship with food that will actually support your health. So, a few takeaways that I want you to take. And typically, I tell you some strategy. Today, I am not going to give you a strategy, or at least like something that is clear cut to do outside from reflecting. I want you to be aware of any beliefs around dieting that you have embraced as true. Just be aware, write them down, and then think about those next week on the next podcast that we have with Katie Harvey, where we're going to dig deeper on this. And then after that, the same way that I hope you dismantle this diet mentality that is keeping you in prison, mental prison, then we're going to demystify a lot of false beliefs around blood sugar. And I am going to go over nutrition, exercise, sleep and stress, and even supplements. And it's not going to be based on social media trends. Be aware of a lot of these groups and a lot of these influencers. A lot of them are being profited by a lot of kickbacks and affiliations. And I'm not saying that affiliations are all bad, but what I'm saying is that you have to see what is the ulterior motive for pushing a very specific thing that is not necessarily science based. But I don't want to tell you what to fear. I want to help you understand what actually works so that you can experience freedom. Now, before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with this last thought. If you have spent years believing you have failed because you couldn't stick to another diet, I hope you start with a different question. Instead of saying, why can't I stick to this? I want you to ask yourself, is this something I could happily do for the rest of my life? Because managing blood sugar and lowering your A1C is not about surviving the next 30 days. It's about building habits you're still practicing 5 years from now. And that's the kind of health I want for you. And I want to say thank you for spending part of your day with me. If this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to subscribe. Please leave a review, share it with someone who's tired of starting every Monday, and don't forget to come back next week for my conversation with Katie Harvey. And I have a feeling that's going to change the way you think about food, you think about diets, and you think about life and health. Until the next one.